The emotions here at the Kingdome are going to be running high this afternoon because it's Steve Largent's final game for the 1989 season for his 14-year career. At 34, Steve Largent is saying goodbye today to pro football.
And last, Steve, we would like to unveil in the first member inducted into the Ring of Honor, Mr. Steve Largent.
He leaves the game as the most prolific receiver in NFL history. But the retirement of the Seahawks' greatest star also marks the passing of one era and the beginning of another. In 1989, head coach Chuck Knox began a search for leadership to deal with life after Largent, turning first to the experienced members of the offensive line. Center Grant Fiesel, 9-year guard Edwin Bailey, 12-year veteran Mike Wilson, tackle Ron Mattis, and 6-year mainstay Brian Millard. Another familiar face, running back Kurt Warner, assumed his customary role as Seattle's leading ball carrier, while increasing his career team record totals in attempts, yardage, and touchdowns. But the passing game was where the Seahawks best moved the football. Leading the attack was 10-year veteran Dave Craig, who played in his 3rd Pro Bowl while becoming Seattle's all-time leading passer. Craig's targets included Pro Bowl teammate Brian Blades, along with tight end Robert Tyler and wideouts Paul Scansey and Jeff Chadwick. Whenever Craig needed an escape hatch, there was no safer haven than the outstretched hands of John L. Williams. As the club's 2nd leading rusher, John L. provided additional punch to the running attack, but was most dangerous when used in the Seahawks' aerial game. No other running back in the NFL caught more passes or gained more receiving yards than Williams, who also topped the team in touchdown receptions. John L. Williams, pro football's top pass-catching runner, and a key to Seahawks' success in the post-Largent era. After dropping their first 2 games of the season to NFC opponents, Seattle got well in a hurry with back-to-back wins over the Patriots and Raiders.
Seahawks offense all of a sudden is charged up here at the Patriot 27. Craig's back to pass. Might go deep. Goes for it. The end zone. Touchdown Seahawks! Lewis down and Craig hit him right on the money.
The Seahawks beat New England by 3 touchdowns, then rolled over the Raiders thanks to timely defense led by strong safety Nesby Glasgow, number 22. Also contributing was a well-balanced attack that featured a 100-yard day from Kurt Warner, plus scores from John L. Williams and Brian Blades.
Here's Craig, couple of steps back, throws one down toward the left sideline in the end zone. Touchdown, Seahawks to Blades! Blades took off like he was shot out of a cannon down the left sideline.
While Seahawk veterans were performing at top capacity, a legion of fresh faces in Seattle were starting to feel more at home. In all, 22 new players, including 14 rookies, saw action, the most ever in any year Chuck Knox and his staff have coached a team. With the arrival of so many new players, the guidance of Seattle's assistants in reshaping the lineup was more valued than ever. Even with all the newcomers on the roster, there was one group of athletes as familiar to Seattleites as the Space Needle. The Seahawks front three of Jacob Green, Joe Nash, and Jeff Bryant has played together for nearly a decade, longer than any other defensive line in pro football. Green, Nash, and Bryant know each other's moves as well as they know their own. Such familiarity breeds contempt for opposing quarterbacks. With additional support from Roy Hart, number 63, the line helped to define the roles of the entire Seahawk defense.
We've grown to trust one another. You do your job, I'll do mine, everyone fulfilling their own assignment. And I think that's been the key to us playing as well as we have. We're an attack-type defense, and we've come with a lot of varied looks, and I think it keeps people guessing a little bit. And you see around the league that the good defenses are the ones that keep people guessing and are always attacking rather than sitting back and waiting for them to come at them.
Wyman and the linebacking core of Tony Woods, Darren Como, M.L. Johnson, Brian Bosworth, and Rufus Porter used multiple coverages and complex rush techniques to chop down ball carriers and stir up the intensity of Seattle's defensive play.
We decided that we're going to be a tougher, more aggressive defense. And as far as the secondary goes, you know, we want just to be more aggressive. If you're around a receiver, you know, put him down and let him know he's going to get hit.
Opposing receivers tested Seattle's defensive backs at their own peril, risking telling blows from Harper, Hunter, Glasgow, Robinson, Jenkins, Moyer, and Hollis. Better coverage and punishing hits helped Seattle's secondary to finish among the AFC's top 5 in pass defense. With a balanced blend of longtime veterans and new blood, Seattle's defense was markedly improved from the same unit that had taken the team to a division crown just a season before. With a kick from Ruben Rodriguez or Norm Johnson, Seattle's renowned special teams were off and running, and opposing returners were in for nothing but trouble. The special teams also made history in Week 5 when James Jefferson returned a kickoff 97 yards, the longest Seahawks scoring play ever.
Lowry on the kickoff sends one down the field. Going to be fielded by Jefferson, who brings it up across the 15. This by one man, defeats the 25. This by another. He's all the way out to the 30. He could be on his way. He's going for a touchdown. He's at the 20, the 10. Touchdown Seahawks!
Jefferson's return put him in the Seattle record book, while the hustling play of special teams ace Rufus Porter placed him in his second straight Pro Bowl. Porter continued to excel as the conference's finest special teams player. But in 1989, Rufus expanded his role defensively as the Seahawks' designated pass rusher.
Well, I think my skills are my small size and it's my speed and quickness. So that's what I try to use on a guy that's 300 pounds or a guy that's 290. You know, I know he can't really move as quick as I can, so I just try to use that against him. The role I play is trying to put pressure on the quarterback, you know, keeping everything inside of me and hopefully get a sack.
That's such great effort. I've seen Rufus get blocked 2 or 3 times by 2 or 3 different people on a play, and he'll still keep hustling.
He's able to make moves and be under control at full speed somehow. And that's the thing that's really struck me about Rufus Porter rushing the quarterback.
When I get close to the quarterback, you know, a bunch of guys say my eyes get real big, but I can't really tell that. I just get so excited, like, hey, I'm about to get him.
Porter got to the quarterback more than any other Seahawk, finishing among the AFC's top pass rushers with the most sacks ever by a Seattle linebacker. Porter was just one of several young players who will be starring for the Seahawks as they enter the 90s. When number 86 tight end Travis McNeil began to see more playing time in the final weeks, he proved to be a big, reliable passing target that would not go down without a fight. McNeil made the NFL All-Rookie squad, as did tackle Andy Heck, number 66. Seattle's top draft pick out of Notre Dame became a fixture at left tackle by mid-season, using his massive frame to clear paths for the Seattle running game. But no other member of the team enjoyed greater success than Brian Blades, the AFC's second leading receiver, a Pro Bowl participant, and Seattle's most valuable player. In only his second season, Blades amassed impressive statistics, but also earned the respect and confidence of his teammates.
I guess the things I like about him is just that he's fearless. He'll go down and catch the ball in the middle. He'll do whatever he has to catch the football. He'll work very hard to get open, and that's all you can ask for out of a receiver. And once the football comes to him, he concentrates on it. He's willing to take a good hit to catch the football, and that enables the quarterback to have confidence to throw to a fellow when he's in tight coverage.
Blades joined Steve Largent as the only other Seahawk receiver to gain 1,000 yards in a season. And like Largent, Brian makes his biggest catches in the clutch.
I'm the type of receiver always want the ball in a critical situation. When the game's on the line and you need that big play, I'm the type of receiver that wants that, challenge. I like a challenge.
Chargers rush only 4. Craig goes for the pass in the end zone. Touchdown Seahawks! Blades caught that one on the fly, 8 yards deep. And the Seahawks go back on top.
Blades and the rest of the Seahawks would be at their best in the final month of the regular season. A 4-game losing streak in November virtually doomed any playoff hopes. But Seattle showed a strong finishing kick, beginning with a Monday night win over AFC Eastern champion Buffalo. Travis McNeil made the longest pass reception ever by a Seahawk tight end. And then Dave Craig and John L. Williams combined for the winning touchdown.
Craig back on second down for the pass again, eludes the rush and lobs one downfield, and it's caught on the fly at the 30-yard line, sticking down the 10, is thrown over the 5, keeps going, touchdown Seahawks!
A week later in Cincinnati, Seattle's defense beat up on the conference's top-ranked offense, sacking Boomer Esiason 4 times while setting the tone for a come-from-behind win.
Craig's back to pass. Has a lot of people there. Craig throws upfield. Catch is made. 41 is good rally. Blades is off to the races and could take it all the way. Touchdown Seahawks!
A fourth-quarter touchdown by Kurt Warner wrapped up the victory against the defending AFC champs, setting the stage for a nationally televised battle under the dome. The opponent was the arch-rival Raiders, But that did not keep the Seahawks from reeling off their third straight win.
Craig will operate out of the shotgun. He's at the 15, now throws in the end zone. Touchdown Seahawks with John L. Williams.
With their late season surge over playoff contenders, Seattle concluded the '89 campaign with a positive feeling that they would be back in 1990, eager to reclaim their division championship. On December 10th, 1989, Steve Largent finally sees the last meaningful NFL receiving record that had eluded his grasp.
Second down, 7. Meanwhile, Seahawks down 10-0. Cincinnati 10-yard line. Best penetration. Craig back the pass. Little pump fake. Now looks, throws to the end zone. There it is. Touchdown Seahawks. Number 100. And that long pursuit of Don Hubson's career touchdown reception in the NFL is over, and Steve Largent has number 100.
Yet with only 2 weeks until his retirement, Steve used that moment to give rather than receive. Seahawks radio announcer Pete Gross had been battling cancer for 2 years. And following the game, Largent presented him with his jersey as a symbol of friendship and support. For all fans, that single moment defined Steve Largent as a player and as a man, marking a graceful exit from the game.
He is not only a Hall of Fame football player, he is a Hall of Fame human being, a Hall of Fame father, a Hall of Fame husband. And these, I think, are the things that are important to Steve Largent as he goes through life. People will remember him for his football here in the Seattle area, but I think even more remember him as a human being.
Largent will someday be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, but his NFL debut in 1976 hardly suggested football immortality. Steve had been drafted in the 4th round by the Houston Oilers, only to be cut prior to the start of the season.
At that point in time, a lot of my self-worth, self-esteem was built upon or based upon my ability as a football player. And so to have someone say, "You're not good enough," it was really a crushing blow to me.
I was going to fix dinner, and I wanted him to come out. And Steve said, "Well, that'll be great, but I need to get home and get to bed early. I've got to catch a plane in the morning." And I said, "Oh, where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to Seattle." He said, "But I'm only going to take a few things because I may not be there long." Well, you know the rest of the story.
In retrospect, his trade to the expansion Seahawks for an 8th-round draft pick may be football's equivalent of buying Manhattan for $24. In just a few seasons, Steve Largent made himself into one of the best receivers in the game.
You can tell by watching film with Steve Largent and when you get to play with him or against him that he's a guy that is determined to win. He's determined to do his part.
Largent won on the playing field by winning the inner game of football, outwitting, out-hustling, and outlasting his opponents.
He's so quick, and he weaves you up and down the field, and he just knows the game. He knows what you're trying to do to him before you even do it to him.
Soon, the passing duo of Jim Zorn to Steve Largent became the centerpiece of the fledgling Seahawk franchise.
And I think his best asset is he understands the game, and that helps me out a lot because he makes adjustments, being as smart as he is. Don't take that to your head, son.
Right, Jim, you forgot to tell him about my hands.
And he's got great hands, and people don't think he's fast, but he's fast.
But while the football yardage was mounting toward record levels, at home, Steve and his wife Terry faced their greatest challenge. Their 4th child, Kramer, was born with a neuromuscular disease, spina bifida.
It was heartbreaking just to think what Kramer would have to experience in life. And then it was also real devastating to watch Steve kind of walk off to the corner of the room sobbing. That was the hardest thing for me.
Keep going. Keep going. Lift up. Stand. Let me see you stand. When Kramer was born, you know, I cried tears of bitterness and disappointment. But I've told my wife already, the day that he walks, there'll be tears of joy, and I'm really looking forward to that time.
With Kramer, Largent gained a new perspective in his life. And as his son grew, so did Steve's fire on the field, toppling records while becoming the most beloved hero in the Pacific Northwest.
has meant to the Northwest area as much as anybody has to any franchise in the history of the game, because he was there from day one. He has broken all the records. He's endured the change of the game itself, and the whole time he's been successful, he's been humble, and he's maintained a great level of class.
To have him not be like in my locker next to mine and not see number 80 up there. Personally, I think they should just leave that locker alone and not do anything to it ever. I've been very lucky and privileged to have the opportunity to throw to a receiver the caliber of a Steve Largent. I mean, to do it for 14 years like he has, I don't see that happening in professional football for a long time, if ever at all.
Largent leaves the game with more catches for more yards and more touchdowns than any player in league history. But now, the Seahawks must begin a new era without him, and Chuck Knox knows what it will take to succeed.
There are no problems in life, only challenges, that you must have a plan as to how you're going to attack the challenges that you're presented with. And football definitely teaches you that. It teaches you the perseverance to stay with the task at hand. You see, as a football coach, I never want to walk the sideline and feel that like I'm out there fighting everybody on the other team and coaching staff by myself. I like to feel like, hey, we're all together in this. And all I want you to do is play as hard as you can play, maximize the talent that you have.
The torch has been passed to the next generation of Seahawks. By responding to the challenges ahead, Seattle's future stars may soon be writing football history of their own. This film was brought to you by New York Life and its dedicated agents, proud sponsors of the NFL's team highlight films. New York Life, the company you keep.